join in as we go along. Again, the Echolink is up and running, so if anybody needs to use that to get into the repeater, they can feel free to do that. And again, this is an informal roundtable, so we will go in order as people call in. And if you have a topic or something you'd like to talk about, feel free to put it in there. As usual, I'm asking for experienced hams to come up with topics like antenna building or digital communications or anything that you can think of that anybody needs to learn. I've been in ham radio for a little while now, but by no means do I know enough at all. So let me roll. Keep in mind that the Mount Greylock repeater has a 90-second timeout, so we try not to exceed that if we can help it. Okay. People that have checked in so far is Whiskey 1 SEX, Whiskey A1 ZHM, KA1 KTT Dave, and W1 JJP Jake from, I believe, Pittsfield, he said. So, Paul, you're up first if you'd like to explain what your position at the ARRL is and how new hams and old hams can use it.
Very good. Well, thanks for having me on board. I certainly appreciate it. This is Paul, W1SEX in Gardner, and the ARRL Technical Specialist Program is relatively unheard of. However, it's been around for many, many, many decades. And it's primarily for three purposes. One is interference relief, and in particular between hams and neighbors, where a specialist can be called upon to assist a ham with TVI or other interference. And the other is particularly with the repeater interference, that kind of thing, and helping hams, and in particular clubs, with technical issues. There is a half a dozen of us technical specialists in the section. I guess the closest one out to you guys would be Bob, K1YO. Our leader is a technical coordinator, and that is Greg, WA1JXR in Lancaster, Mass. And you can access any of us by our call signs and email addresses. The primary help chain, if you will, let me roll it, would be your local club and your local club's technical committee if they have it. And then we would escalate that up through the technical coordinator, who would assign the problem to a technical specialist. Technical specialists vary in areas of expertise. You have some general technical specialists. You have digital technical specialists. We even have a technical specialist for assisting with vision impaired hams. So we're out there to help out and answer all the questions that we can and keep the knowledge flowing, so to speak. So how's that? W1SEX, back to that.
K1FFK.
Well, Paul, that gave me a lot of information, and I'm sure it did everybody else. Is there any questions for Paul at this point? Hearing none, I'm going to take another call up. Anybody else who would like to join the Newcomers Roundtable, please call now. Okay, N1 VGA, I believe it was, Josh from up in Vermont. Very good. WA1, ZHM. John, do you have anything to add to the Newcomers Roundtable? I know you've been around for a long time. You've had various operations that you've done. Enlighten us a little, please.
Enlightenment. Well, that's a whole different topic. WA1 ZHM in the group. Glad to see somebody's picking up the Newcomers Roundtable again. It's always, I've always felt that it's a worthwhile thing to have operating for newcomers and old timers too. Well, let me see. I haven't got much to add or offer other than we're all kind of taking it easy with what's been going on in the country or in the world with the virus and all that stuff. So let me catch it. We're all limited to what we can really go out and do in public, but privately, I've been having fun. I have several hobbies, and one is amateur radio, which has transitioned to digital. And I had a whole big new learning curve with that. And my secondary hobby is music. And I got myself a digital keyboard. So music has transitioned for most everybody from analog to digital. So there's another whole new learning curve for me. And I've been racking my brain with some of this transferring analog to digital signals and making music with it. But it is fun, and it opens up a whole new avenue of things that we can do with the music. So I haven't been doing too much outside. It's getting colder. I don't like to cold that much. The older you get, the worse it is on your system. Achy muscles and stuff like that. So I'm an indoor person through the winter generally. So I've figured I would sit down and do a little musicking. I played piano when I was way younger, back in high school, some odd 60 years ago, and gave it up. I went to service, never touched it until recently. And then now I figured, well, I bought a little cheapie at the flea market. Catch it. NOBRAC flea market, and bought a little cheapie keyboard, and I started playing with that. And I started having fun. And I said, well, let's get serious. So I went to the music store and I bought a nice digital Yamaha, and away we go from there. So I'm getting kind of polished at it. 2 or 3 hours a day is enough. I don't want to burn myself out. But I'm picking it up faster than I thought I would. And I can't read music. I never could. I have a disability, a sight disability now. So reading music's out. So I have to play by ear. When I have to memorize all the songs and all the notes and how to get the muscle memory going. So that's the story in a nutshell in the last few months here at the command post for WA1 ZHM. Back to the Newcomers Roundtable.
John, very good. Thank you for all that. I was aiming you in a different direction, but that's okay. We'll get around to it. I'm trying to hone in on some amateur radio topics like Skywarn or stuff like that. But next time around, maybe we'll see what happens. Okay, let's move along to KA1 KTT Dave up in I believe it was North Adams. And you said you had a topic. What topic would you like to talk about, Dave?
Okay, first of all, this is Dave, KA1KTT, up here in North Adams. And, willing to help any new hams or anybody else that would like to discuss things. willing to work with people if they, need some help with the antennas or something like that. And, well, I don't know everything, but I know a couple of things. And people that got like analyzers, it's a quick way to check the impedance and where that antenna is matched and without transmitting. So that's a good topic right there too. You can check these antennas without transmitting. They have these analyzers such as by manufacturers as MFJ, Comet, or some other brands. Let me let it roll it. And also, I was going to say is power supplies. And there they have switching power supplies, and they have the old-fashioned transformer linear power supplies. And I guess each one has got their advantages and disadvantages in there. I was willing maybe to open up a topic on that for general discussion. And what else can I say there too? That basically I do HF work now, do a little bit of VHF, do a little bit of UHF, but I've done 2 sideband, worked many repeaters, and done a couple other things there as well. I've heard satellite, but I haven't got back to it yet out there. But I am here about 38 years. Back to net control, KA1KTT.
Great job, Dave. Did you say you had an antenna analyzer, or are you just talking about it?
I got one. I got the MFJ, the 259A. That covers, let's see, I think it's 1 point something megahertz down there to, I think it goes up to 170 out there. I kind of got that at a good price. And they make some that go up over to 500 megahertz as well there too, but I think mine only goes up to 170. I'll tell you right now, if you're doing the multi-band HF antenna, boy, that's definitely save you a lot of time and aggravation. If you got an analyzer, you can check the resonant frequency and impedance your antennas real quick and save yourself a lot of time. Over.
Okay, Dave, very good. We may be talking in the future, but great job. Yeah, any topic on the Newcomers Roundtable is welcome. Like I say, we all know a little bit. We don't know. There's nobody that's going to know everything, and not that I know of, anyways. Let's move on to the next participant here. Whiskey 1 JJP, Jake, in Pittsfield. Anything you'd like to speak about and tell us a little about you?
K1FFK.
Yeah, good evening. Jake out of Pittsfield, Whiskey 1 Juliet Papa. I know you guys heard me calling to quite a few times over the last few weeks. Been a ham about 10 years now. Haven't been very, very active with it, but recently just reset myself up in my basement. So just getting rolling with it again. I got my ham 10 years ago mainly for Skywarn. I got really interested in doing some Skywarn stuff, took some classes, got my technician license, and called in a few weather reports here and there, mostly just listening. By day, I'm actually a two-way radio technician. So I do a lot of work with analog digital on the public safety side, VHF, UHF, 800. Great. So a lot of my experience is on that. I don't have a lot of experience with the ham digital equipment. Something I want to roll into a little bit, but again, anything public safety wise, that's kind of my forte. Also part of the Berkshire Medical Reserve Corps communication sector. May or may not have heard of us before. Berkshire Medical Corps is to assist medical staff in case of emergency. The communication side of it is to communicate between the 3 local hospitals, Western Mass in case of emergency via ham radio. Great. We've been kind of up and down the last few years, trying to work our way back up here, but so you may hear a little bit about us in the future. I guess that's a good start for me. If you want JJC.
Yes, it is, Jake. Very good. Nice to hear from you. 10 years and you're just getting back into it. Well, I've done pretty much the same thing at one point. But Medical Reserve Corps, yes, I've been hearing them do their monthly checks on Monday. In fact, they should be scheduled for tomorrow, I would imagine. I know BMC and Fairview have a couple of hams operating. I don't know if North Adams has anything yet, but it would be good to get them all on and working so that they have backup communications for one. And the digital email that WinLink has is something you may want to look into. It's something I've been playing with recently. It's nice to be able to send email without having to use the internet, so to speak. I mean, it will use the internet at times, but if the internet goes down, you can still go unit to unit and send emails back and forth. So let me roll. So that might be one of the topics we may want to bring up some night. FL Digi is another one. Although I've had that up on my computer here for the last 6 months or so, I think I just made my first contact on FL Digi probably within the last week. I'm not a real geek on digital stuff. I like talking a little bit one-on-one, but the digital is coming in and it's working great. So we all got to pick and choose what we want to do, and believe me, this hobby has got everything for everybody. Let me take a break here and see if anybody else would like to check into the Newcomers Roundtable. Please call now. Hearing none, I'll get ready to move on to another person here. I will say this, though, for those that are on here, talk up the Newcomers Roundtable. Right now we're only going to have it once a month. We can go every 2 weeks if we get more people to check in and stuff. And a lot of people are shy about checking into things like this. That's why the Newcomers Roundtable has dropped out so many times, and we're trying to bring it back again because I really feel a need, same as N1ISB. Don Horton was the gentleman that started it way back when we roll. And he thought it was a good idea to get something like this going, to get the new hams in and get them away from being mic shy or whatever. Although nowadays I don't see too many people being mic shy. They just seem to come rolling in. But it's a great place for them to learn, a great place for us to learn, and a great place to promote the hobby. So with that being said, talk it up, try to get more people to check in, and if we need to go to 2 weeks, let me know, and we'll reschedule it and make it every 2 weeks if we have to. Okay, N1 ZGA, Josh, you're up next. Your signal was a little bit weak on the first time around, but go ahead, give it a try.
Alrighty. It could be. I'm on a little smaller antenna than normal. I could switch that around. You sound fine though. You sound fine coming in. Oh, not doing too much up here. Just listening here to the net, and that's about it. And listening to you guys, trying to learn something. This is N1 ZGA, and let somebody else take it away and see what we can learn.
Okay, Josh, very good. I will mention that Josh is tinkering around with putting videos and audio transmissions on YouTube, I believe it is. He's having a little problem with the camera setup right now, but sooner or later he'll get that running again, and if anybody knows Obi and the QOV, he used to do that all the time with all the nets. So it'd be nice to have somebody putting that back up on the tube so we can see and hear how things are going with our transmission. So with that, let me roll it. And I'll ask one more time, for anybody that would like to check into the Newcomers Roundtable, please call now.
This is Kilo Charlie 1, Juliet Papa Uniform. Matt, I'm here in North Adams.
This is NOBRAC.
Okay, very good. Matt, KC1JPU. It's actually up to you if you'd like to say something or come up with any ideas for topics, or just let us know what you like to do with ham radio.
Well, thank you, Dave. I've been listening on the side a little bit. I was just finishing up dinner. W1JJP ended up bringing up intercommunications between hospitals and such, and then I believe you brought up digital with WinLink. And I've been kind of messing around with APRS lately. Not a ton in the like really recent past, but I started picking it up over the summer, and that's the digital mode that's really cool. Now, what I love about APRS is that it'll connect into the internet at iGates. You can send emails, not receive them. Send and receive text messages if you do it the right way. You can send messages between APRS users. And there's just a ton of stuff that you can do with APRS. And the best part about it is it's all under technician's license. So you don't have to be a general up in the HF bands to use APRS. But it's a digital mode that you can send and receive text messages and transmit your location or beacon your location. It's a very really not much to add other than like something to think about. Anyway,
K1FFK.
Hey, Matt, very good. Yeah, I used to play with the APRS quite a bit at one time. But again, it's one of those things you have to keep working at, so to speak, in order to keep up with it, because I've got APS in the car on the radio, but the radio's so new that I have to sit down and read the book to figure out how to get it going again. So, and digital modes are great for certain things. The WinLink, so that you're aware of it, does have a FM mode to it also. So it can go through repeaters and stuff with the blessing of the people that own the repeaters, or run the repeaters, I should say. So it is available to the technician class people, I believe, by means of that. It's best on HF, but it also goes through the internet too. So it's a varied thing. You have to really look into the program. Okay, let me move along to the next person here, which will be Ramon. N1XBI, Ramon. What do you have to say to this evening on the Newcomers Roundtable?
Well, it's always a pleasure, you know. Now the Newcomers Roundtable opens up again, so there we go. And Well, it's the weather's not doing too bad. So that's which is well, there's no rain, so and yeah, well, actually, I've got something else to say, so let's be back to that.
Okay, Ramon. I'm going to ask you a little question here. Maybe you can enlighten us a little bit on the Handyham situation, because I know they've helped you out, I guess, in the past. So, how much have they helped you, and what can they do for people that need their help? Do you have any information on that? Whiskey 1 Tango Tango Tango.
Well, as far as getting I was supposed to get an HF rig from Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota, I think. Wait a minute. No. It's been so long now. The pandemic is writing everyone's mind. So there we go. So I don't know. All I know is I should have got an HF rig. But anyway. Well, yeah, back to you.
Okay, Ramon, I'm sure you'll get it eventually. It's just going to take a little more longer from what I can understand what's going on in the country here. So, okay, again, Newcomers Roundtable, any new check-ins, please call now. Okay, hearing none, we're back up to the top of the, actually, I'll put a little 2 cents in on me, because so people know who I am and what I do. Again, my name is Dave. It's Whiskey 1 Tango Tango Tango. I'm Assistant Section Emergency Coordinator for Aries for Western Mass. And I'm very much like to see a lot of people get into the emergency communications end of ham radio, because it's a real good thing for us to be prepared for any kind of a disaster. And I'm sure a lot of other hams will agree with that. And the ham radio hobby, sometimes it seems like it's dying out. Other times it's coming up strong. It's a funny thing, because unless there's a need for us, people forget about us. So, but anyways, I've been into emergency communications for quite a while. Used to be an EMT. I was a past firefighter for my town. Getting a little old for that stuff now, so I'm backing out of that, spending more time on the ham radio, which is good, because WA1ZHM used to be the coordinator for the Skywarn for Berkshire County, and he's handed that off to me, so I'm working with that. There might be other people that may have checked in tonight that might be interested in some more of that to get involved. So Skywarn's a good thing for amateur radios to get into. And like I say, there's so many different aspects of this hobby that I couldn't even think of them all right at the moment. So I listen to the Mount Greylock machines here. I try to check into Mount Tom when the racing nets are on, which I will mention that there is a racing net at 7 p.m. tomorrow evening on this repeater for any of you that want to check into that. It's always a good thing. It's not just for racing, it's for Aries and just non-affiliated hams. So, feel free to check in if you're interested in any kind of emergency communications. Those are the things to get into, the racing, the Aries. Check out the ARRL site for Aries and racing. Look up the information. There's plenty of it out there. And with that, I'll turn it over to W1 SCX. Paul, we're back up to the top of the list for you.
And W1 TTT, W1 SCX. Well, very good. And I remember Don very well. He was licensed in 1991. Don was N1ISB. I was N1ITT, and it was not too much long after me. So he was probably received his license, I'm going to guess, in late April of 1991. So that is almost 30 years old. So very good. And well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a broadcast on our local Mohawk Amateur Radio Club email reflector, as well as the Massachusetts Amateur Radio Association reflector. That'll cover northern Worcester County, and I'll also get it off to the Central Mass ARA, which will cover the southern part of the county here. Also make note that we have the Echo link going so that they can check in and we can get newcomers coming in and getting questions answered. And for me, into all kinds of things with amateur radio, mostly from the technical side. I've got a nice bio on the QRZ page, so if you'd like to check that out, and you can see what I'm into. And also,
Sign out. Sign out. Over. APU. Release clear. Repeater ready.
Caught you right at the end.
Okay. Well, anyhow, check out my bio page on QRZ. Some very useful links in there. And with this COVID thing going on, our club and a lot of other clubs have been meeting via Zoom. I know one of the more difficult things about club activity is finding good guest speakers. However, Zoom has turned out to be a very good way to get good quality speakers, guest speakers for your meeting. And I've got a couple of presentations. So NOBRAC is going to be meeting by Zoom. Feel free to drop me a line. I'd be glad to put on a presentation for you guys on the history of the Heat Company. And I've got another one on oscilloscopes in the shack. So a couple of good talks that I've been doing lately, and I've got another one will be coming up here soon on the ubiquitous multimeter. So good technical topics and a lot of fun. All right, thanks a bunch. W1SCX back to that.
Okay, Paul. No, all that stuff you were talking about in the beginning there of getting the word out would be great. Because the more people that get into this, the longer we can keep it running, and the more information we can transfer from one to the other. EchoLink is up and running. I probably turn it on about a half hour before this net starts, and I'll probably leave it on for about a half hour to an hour after the net, because that's right here controlled at my place. So we don't leave EchoLink up all the time yet on 9.1. It may in the future be that way, but we'll see. But for these nets and the traffic nets, I put it up for all those. So I will set it up to do it for here. Okay, we're going to switch over to WA1ZHM. John, back to you. And, again, any information you can give us on, Skywarn activities or whatever else you would like to speak about. Just don't start playing us music. You'll put me to sleep. Whiskey 1, tango, tango, tango.
Bowden on amateur FM radio. Yes. WA1ZHM. APRS. In the old days, started with APRS early on in Berkshire Mountain Search and Rescue Team. And got maybe 12, 14 guys to get their amateur radio license, and we all played with APRS, being able to keep track of search teams in the forest via APRS. And back in those days, the equipment was among us. It wasn't just a little piece of gear. You had to have a computer and an interface and a radio. We did catch a handful. We did demonstrations at the air show at Westover Air Base for several years. And we set up a APRS station there, and we had guys walking around the field with these packs on with antennas sticking out of them, and microphones in their hand and stuff, doing APRS just to show that we could track people. But the Air Police were attracted, so it was funny trying to explain what we were doing. They enjoyed hassling us anyhow, but we had a good time. And miss those days. Don was around during those days, and he was a lot of fun. Okay, enough said about APRS. If you're interested, get into it. It's a lot easier these days. A lot of radio equipment comes with it already on board, and it's amazing how far it's come. Google Earth, for instance, is an offshoot of stuff like that. WA1ZHM, yeah, by all means, get involved in Skywarn. I'm preaching to the choir because I don't see, like, there's not really any newcomers on board tonight. And most of the folks that are on board are veterans, have been there and done that, and know what I'm speaking about. So I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. So I'm just going to keep it short and say, my 50 years on amateur radio has been a joy, and I just want to say, if there's anybody that's listening on a scanner or thinking about becoming an amateur, do it. You won't regret it. WA1ZHM, back to the Newcomers Roundtable.
Oh, very good, John. I'm laughing here because as you're talking, I'm writing notes down on your line on the paperwork here of other topics that I know you could get into. I mean, you already hit the weather, you hit APRS. I'm waiting for the Fox next. So we'll see what happens. All right, moving along. KA1, KTT, you're up next.
Dave, KA1, KTT. By the way, I just, Dave up in North Adams, northern Berkshire County. I just gave one of the new hams I used to work with down here a call and told him he wasn't available, but I left a voicemail, a message, and told him about the Newcomers Roundtable, that first Monday of the month, and we might be going every 2 weeks there. So I've already spread the word there, Dave. It's another ham. Let's let it drop it. And I helped him along here too, pick out a radio, pick out an antenna. He had a first project. I got him all fired up there on building an antenna. He built a 2-meter quarter wave antenna. That way you can kind of get some basic on how the ground plane works, and a little bit of dipole information on to build that. Your basically HF antenna and the efficiency of it, the pattern of it, when you get that up to proper height, given the frequency, and helped him along. And then he got his technician license in there. I guess he's going to study for his general test on a drop. And I helped, like I said, picked out the power supply and the 2-meter rig. He doesn't want to get into digital at the moment. He's just getting his feet wet in there and basic easy programming radio in there. Well, I picked up the Yaesu 2980 there for him, and good rig, and he had the Alinco switching mode power supply in there. It's got a lot of different jacks on it and stuff. And if you get the noise, it happens to get a noise. It's rare, I guess, on VHF, UHF, but they have a noise offset on there because basically the switching power supply has got to be got to go through switching and stuff internally, produce that 13.8 volts, and you can move that faulty noise off the frequency. Certain other ones are cleaner than others, and sometimes people get the linear or transformer power supplies in there, and they're operating mainly HF brake. Let it drop. The advantage of that switching power supply, they are light in there, and sometimes it's a connection issue with the various equipment that you're running, and other times people just want the transformer type because I guess they don't want to run a risk of birdies and stuff on HF. And there, like I said, some power supplies are cleaner than others, and some have an offset to move the noise away from the frequency you're operating on. And also grounding helps, especially with HF. 2 meters, you don't really you get away with that, but HF, you're dealing with a whole different ballpark out there. And the more power you run, the better you make sure you're grounded. And basically antennas, they tend to get a little large, and equipment for floating RF in the shack, which can get into radios, microphones, and all that. So there's a little bit there, Dave, and getting ready to eat supper here, so I'm going to be listening out. KA1KTT, and again, thanks for getting this started again. And I remember Don Horton as well there. He used to be on 10 meters. Oh, one more thing. Solar cycle's on the way up, so upper bands are going to be opening up. Back to you there, Dave.
Okay, Dave, thanks for all of that. Very good. I'm going to mention one thing here. We have 7 check-ins tonight so far. My email address is my call sign, whiskey1tangle at ARRL.net. If any of you would like to send me an email, and whether you want to suggest that we go to every other week, like I say, I've got it scheduled for once a month, first Sunday of the month, first Sunday of the month, and we start out that way. But if you want to go every other week, let me know, and we'll give that some thought and see what we can do. At this time, I'm going to see if there's anybody else who would like to check into the Newcomers Roundtable. Please call now.
K1FFK.
Last calling station, you're going to have to repeat, please, and a little bit slower, a little bit louder, maybe.
T2 VSI, Kilo Charlie 2 Victor Sierra India. This is Corey, good evening.
Okay, KC2 VSI, and I believe you said your name was Corey. And again, I'll mention that we're on a fusion repeater on this mountain. When you key up for a second before you start transmitting your audio. Otherwise, you cut out like Corey just did his first 2 or 3 letters of his call sign. So key up for a second and then transmit, and you're all set. Corey, if you've been listening, you're at the bottom of the list here. We'll be to you in a short time. So enjoy listening, and if I didn't get your call sign right, go ahead and correct it. Okay, with that, we'll go to Whiskey 1, Juliet Papa. Jake, you have anything else?
I'm just listening along. This has actually been good. My first time calling into this, so I've seen it listed before. As you mentioned earlier, people are shy getting on. Got to pull the plug to get off to it. So, Skywarn, you mentioned, super easy. Take the class. Most of the National Weather Service stuff Albany, which obviously is where we come out of. With everything going on in the last year, it's been all virtual. It's easier than ever before to take these. Yesterday was Skywarn Recognition Day for 2020. I'm sure people heard of that, but it's kind of a day to recognize Skywarn spotters across the country. So I think we had a webinar on that the other night. I think there was 700 people that signed up for it. So I was able to talk to a few the National Weather Service over in Albany here yesterday, so it was good to be able to make contact with them. Even though our Skywarn can't be as exciting as stuff itself. Great. As far as emergency communications goes, yes, it's very important, obviously. With the Medical Reserve Corps, with the communications sector, we're always looking for help. Basically, we're always looking for hands to stand by in case of an emergency, people that can go to these hospitals liaison for radio communication. So at the end, I can give out my email if anybody's interested. Again, we're kind of trying to ramp ourselves back up. So we're kind of in a transition of this. Lastly, as far as the digital goes, it's great to hear about it. Kind of enjoying just doing the basic analog, but I'll be looking at some of this in the future. Like I said, enjoy this one. What did you want, Julia?
Okay, Jake, very good. Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that you're into those Skywarn stuff. Do you do anything local as far as, let's say, storm chasing? There's not that much around here, but do you go out during the bad weather, or do you just sit and monitor the radio at home?
I like to go out. I prefer to go out, especially if it looks like something interesting is going to come over the mountain. I have checked into Skywarn Net here quite a few times in the past with storms in the area. You know, follow them on your phone, on the radar, and kind of keep track. Again, it's a hobby, but yes, I have gone.
Okay, very good. And as far as the emergency communications, working with the hospitals and stuff, that is something that's needed. Do you know if the hospitals have their own equipment? I was told that they do, but I'm not positive of that.
I know Fairview does with an active ham down there. EMC, I believe, does with an active ham. Last I knew, North Adams does. I can't confirm, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that confirms my same thing I thought I knew. Yeah, I know the ham down in Barrington, and I know the one that's been calling in at Pittsfield. So that's good. But they can always use others to practice and be on call for anything that might come up. Okay, we'll let you go. And keep listening. Next is N1 ZGA. Josh, we're back to you. Anything else for the Newcomers Roundtable?
Yep. We are live and on YouTube at my call sign twice. N1 ZGA, N1 ZGA. Yeah, we have been for the last 49 minutes now. So anybody that wants to go on YouTube and see that, yep, it is live on YouTube. And we had a weather balloon go over top of us today from Poland. And the call sign was Sierra Papa 9 Uniform Oscar Bravo /10. And if you look that up on APRS, DFI there, and you can look it up on the map, it flew all the way over from Poland. And if you look 7 days back, I think the last place you can see it is about Japan. But it left and went right over top of Yeah, Boston, Mass, and went right off towards the ocean. This, I suppose, it probably died from sunlight, because it has solar panels on it and stuff. But I would thought that was interesting. Let me roll this. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. APRS pinged my radio, and I saw that, and it's a weather balloon, and yeah, and it's also emailing the guy through APRS. You look at the messages on there, and it says email too, and you click on that, and you can pull that email. And I messaged the guy through there, and he gave me it's also transmitting on 144.251 upper sideband Contestia 82/250, and transmitting off that too. And I thought that was pretty interesting. But it flew pretty much all the way around the world, and you can see that in APRS, and it flew right over top of us today. And yep. And I think I know the Bennington Club on our monthly PDF we send out, all your nets are on there too. So we do send that out to all our members and stuff here up in the Bennington Club. So that's about it. And I'll give that call sign again. That weather balloon. It is. Let me roll it one more time. It is Sierra Papa 9 Uniform Oscar Bravo /10. And you can look that up on APRS. And the guy is over, and if you look up his call on QRZ, that's what they're into over. That's what he's into. Is these weather balloons. He's done quite a few of them. You can actually see on APRS and stuff. So I thought that was pretty interesting today. And that's about it. So I'll give it back to Dave and let you take it away. This is N1ZGA.
Okay, Josh, thank you for that. I'm not sure how much people caught of that. You're in and out of the repeater. I don't know if you can boost your power just a little bit or move your antenna, but I think we caught most of it. So if not, we'll catch you on the next round here. KC1, JPU, Matt, anything from you?
Nothing really too much more extra to add in on that. Other than I am up here in North Adams, so if DMC North ever needed a amateur liaison, I could throw a rocket into the hospital from here. So you are more than welcome to contact me. My email is my call kc1jpu@gmail.com. W1JJP, just in case I ended up meeting somebody up here. Like I said, I'm right down the road. And I get my enjoyment out of the practical side of amateur radio. Like, I like rag chewing and stuff like that, but like, the thing that really brought me to amateur radio is the practical side of it.
Hey, Matt, how about mentioning the other stuff that you do on amateur radio, net controls and stuff like that? The experience you've learned from that, maybe the other experience on, like I say, the practical side of getting out and helping somebody else in need.
Oh yeah, I know what you're getting at. I was part of a injured hiker rescue earlier on in the year, early June, if I remember correctly. And me, Ron, what's Ron's call? I forget what Ron's call is. Dave, you'll have to catch me up. Peter, KT2JKV, helped out with that, and KT1JWR, Alden was the hiker. And boy, I tell you what, he was a real hero. He was the one that was smart enough to bring his radio that day. And stuff happened, and we ended up using amateur radio. We were able to communicate his position from where he had no cell service to get the firefighters that were going up there to, and EMTs that were going up there to try to bring him out of the woods. We were able to get that information between all of us there that day, and that was fun. Me personally, where we were at staging, it was a kind of a dead zone even for the repeat. As I'm a certifiable nerd, solder and iron and some ladder lines, coax, connectors, and all that stuff in it. I have a radio bag, and I was able to build a ladder line J-pole in the field, and I ended up hanging it up in a tree with a fishing pole. And that was the difference between being on the ground and being up in the tree was enough to hit the repeater, and that was like I said, that was enough to get us through a clear line of communication between us and Alden, and he was able to tell us what was going on with him, and I was able to tell everybody looking for him what was going on with him, and it ended up being a pretty smooth operation. But yeah, other than that, I run some traffic nets every now and then here and there, just kind of filling in mostly. But other than that, yeah, that's about it.
Okay, Matt, thank you for that. Is there somebody else trying to get into the repeater or wanting to join the newcomers roundtable? Please call now. Okay, not hearing any. I'm going to jump ahead here to KC2VSI, Corey, and see if you have anything to say, Corey, before we get ready to start shutting this down.
To VSI, just checking to see that you can hear me okay. I'm indoors on an HD.
Loud and clear.
He blew a fuse. WA1ZHM.
I think we got something else going on, John. Whiskey 1 Tango Tango Tango. Is there anybody else who would like to try and use the repeater or check into the newcomers roundtable?
KT2 VSI. I'm not sure how much you caught of my last.
Well, try it all over again there, Corey, because we didn't catch any of your transmissions.
Okay, well, sorry about that. So just a couple of things. Been around Business Richfield and been a member of the club informally for a few months now, and interested in working with folks on MCOM or long-distance Wi-Fi projects like part, and that was on ARUTN for the days we've had before.
Oh, that's the first on me. Okay, but that's great. I didn't realize you were in the local area here, but with the call sign, but good to hear.
K1FFK.
Yeah, I got my call sign at RPI about 10 years ago. Lost interest and kind of getting back into it again. So that's why I put you there. KT2 VSI.
Okay, very good. We'll try one more round here. We'll call it a 7-3 round, so everybody can acknowledge that we're going to close the net. We've been running for over an hour, which is more than I expected at this point, which is great. So, Whiskey 1, SEX, Paul, go ahead with your 7-3 round.
Dave, thank you, and great net. I'm glad you made that announcement on the Western Mass Emergency Net this morning, and because I've really missed this. I used to check in fairly regularly years ago, and I think after 2008, when the ice storm took down my antenna infrastructure, I didn't get out of the hobby, but my focus had changed to emergency management, RACES, and an awful lot of training classes. So, but after retiring 2 years ago, November 30th, so it's been two full years now, gotten back into it in various nets. Let's say 6 to 7 in the morning, I'll usually check into the Rooster net on 3990, and then after that we have the no-name net. This is interesting, the no-name net on 3982, and that's between, usually starts at 7:30ish. We usually finish up by 8:30. And then the 4 p.m.ers, 3922, at 4 p.m., of course, and it's a great net, great bunch of people. So if you're looking for some nets to get involved with, check in there. And I also run e-cars on Tuesday and Wednesdays, 1 to 1:30.
Time out. Ready.
Well, you cut out right after the e-cars.
That was it. Not used to this short timeout. I got a couple of suggestions on the email to you. So let me know, and I'll try and make this one regularly. Just drop an email when it's going to happen, and I'll set the clock. Thanks. 73 W1SEX. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, and great having you along. It's nice to get new people. Well, I won't say you're new, but new technology, the tech. People that are really up there that know what they're talking about. So great having you, and we will try to let you know when the next one is. Whiskey 1, or Whiskey Alpha 1, Zulu Hotel Mike, Jan, 7-3 round.
Okay, WA1ZHM. I don't know why you find my call sign so hard to say. I trip over my tongue a lot, too. I haven't got much else to offer other than, yes, I will check in. And I'm glad it's up and running, and kudos for bringing it back. It's a good thing. So I'm going to say 73s. We've been running for an hour. That's cool. And we'll probably pick up a few. I'll pass the word along to a few people that I know and try and get them interested in the round table again. WA1ZHM. Ciao for now. Back to the round table. The N1ISP newcomers round table. Excellent.
Okay, Jan, you have a good evening, and if you got a pencil or anything handy, jot down Fox Hunt for your next time round. You can fill us in on what you used to do with those. All right? Very good. KA1, KTT, Dave, 7-3 round.
November 1, Sierra Yankee, November, Rick in Dalton, Massachusetts. Negative traffic, I'm on commercial power. Good evening to the newcomers roundtable. It's really good to see that it's back on the air.
Rick, I got you listed in here as a new login. I missed everything though. KA1 KTT, your 7-3 round. Are you still out there? Heard from him. Whiskey 1, Julia Papa. Jake, 7-3 round.
Yeah, W1JJP. Thanks, Dave. W51 Tango for putting this on. This is great. I'll follow up with an email, just to kind of my thoughts on how often it should go, but just my thoughts. I'm also going to follow up with Matt, KC1JPU, get him an email regarding at a hospital. I want to follow up with my local MRC team as well, so bear with me in a few days or so. Other than that, that's all I got. It was great talking to everybody. Everybody have a great evening. Stay safe. We'll see one. Julia.
Okay, 7-3 Jake. N1 ZGA, Josh. Finals on your 7-3 round?
Yep, 7-3s. Everybody have a good night. Good hearing everybody in here. And hopefully you can hear me. It says I'm putting out 10 watts. Hopefully that's enough. All right, 73s. Have a good night. And talk to you soon. And on the Benton net, they do a net at 28.333 upper sideband at 8 o'clock. So everybody have a good night. This is N1 ZGA.
Okay, 7-3, Josh. And just a piece of information for you. NOBRAC, for your videos. Great job on the video, by the way. Looking at it on YouTube. And for those that didn't hear him earlier, if you look on YouTube under N1ZGA, you'll see what he puts up for recordings of the Mets and Newcomers Roundtable. Okay, let me roll. KC1 JPU, finals for the 7-3 round.
Well, thank you very much, sir. This is KC1 JPU. We haven't anything much more to add other than W1JGP. I'll be looking forward to an email at some point. And like I said, I'm more than happy to lend a hand when it's necessary. Like I said, that's one of my more favorite parts about the hobby. It's all fun, but the practical side of it is definitely my favorite part. So I will definitely be looking forward to hearing from you. And other than that, 7-3 to all, and have a good night.
Matt, hope to hear you on the next time. N1XBI, sorry to keep you waiting, but are you still in there, Ramon? And anything you'd like to say for the 7-3 round?
K1FFK.
Okay, KC2 VSI, 7-3 round, your comment?
Thanks, Dave. KC2 VSI here. Thank you for setting this up. I've looked for it a couple times previously, and glad that it's back. Definitely will be doing that again. I'm in the millennial generation, so I'm afraid to use the phone a lot of the time, so it's good to practice the rag too, and look forward to working with everybody on something in the future. 7-3, KC2 VSI.
7-3 to you. And Rick, Whiskey 1 Tango 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 here. Nice to hear you on this evening. You have any comments?
N1SYN here. Yeah, I'm extremely elated that that's back on the air, and if needed at some point here and there, I could probably help you out taking the net.
Rick, I have somebody else walk in the room here. Yeah, that'll be fine. We may need that in the future here, because hopefully it'll build up from here. And unfortunately, Rick, I didn't catch your call sign at the beginning. I got the SYN. What's the prefix on it?
November 1.
Okay, see, I tried searching everything else out and I couldn't find it. All right, that's good to know. I probably got it listed here 10 times over somewhere else in this room, but thank you for that. Yeah, I'd like to see this go and keep going and build up, because I really feel that it's a good thing for new hams, and as you do too, I'm sure. So with that, I'll say 7-3 to everybody that's joined. If we didn't get to you and you didn't sign in, feel free to do it the first Sunday of next month, unless we get an overabundance for the 2-week series, and we'll let everybody know about that. So with that, I'm going to close this roundtable. And Rick, it's been nice hearing you on there. I hope you'll join us again, and you'll bring some ideas along with it. I know you've been around for a while. Whiskey 1 Tango Tango Tango.
Thanks, Dave. And I'll be clear. I'll get a hold of you by landline, and we can talk about it. Thanks again. N1SYN. Clear.
Okay, this has been a regular monthly meeting of the NOBRAC Newcomers Roundtable. I'd like to thank the Northern Berkshire Amateur Radio Club for its sponsorship and for the use of the repeater, which I will now return to regular amateur radio use. Thanks to all who checked in tonight. The round table is secure at 1920. This is Whiskey 1, Tango, 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 signing clear.
W1 Triple D with KC1 JPU.
Go ahead, Matt.
If you end up going to every other week rather than once a month, you'll probably end up putting that out as an announcement on the net, correct?
Most definitely.
Awesome, sounds good. I just figure if anybody's listening, just on the sidebar, if you at least listen to the net at 1 and 4:30 p.m. daily, Dave will probably be on there and let you know whether or not it will be once a month or once every other week. And there's plenty of good local amateur radio news that you can hear from the announcements there on those two nets. But yeah, I just figured I'd throw that out there just in case you want to hear.
Okay, and don't forget about the races net at 7 p.m. on this repeater tomorrow evening. And W1 Triple T will be clear.
Have a good night, Dave. KC1 JPU clear. 7